Well, as you all know, I'm a big fan of video games, so now that I have a webcam, I decided maybe I should start doing sort of review videos of games I like, and today I'm going to review a game which belongs to a game series, a very prolific game series, and that series, of course, is... Now, I'm not exactly the type of guy to say that I'm a fan of the Mortal Kombat series, but I definitely have enjoyed it. I didn't care so much for the first game, but I think the games that came after it were pretty good. I loved the first movie, and the second movie not so much. And I think the series definitely made an excellent comeback with Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which I naturally bought on my GameCube. I skipped Mortal Kombat Deception because I didn't know there was a GameCube version to begin with, and, you know, it just kind of went under the radar. And I didn't bother with it so much because I knew what was on the horizon. And what was on the horizon, of course, was this. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Now, if you don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, it's basically a fighting game series where fighters from Earth and other dimensions battle each other in bloody fights to defend their realms and all that stuff. And Mortal Kombat Armageddon is kind of like a new landmark game in a way that it features nearly all of the characters that have ever been. And if you know the Mortal Kombat mythos, there are almost like close to 100 different characters, playable characters in the games, and this game brings them all together in one game. Now, of course, because it's a Mortal Kombat game, it obviously features all the sort of classic fan-favorite characters like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Sonya Blade, Jax, all those characters. But what's really great about this game, and the reason I bought it, was because it also features some of the characters that kind of have been forgotten or were not seen after their first game appearance, like some of the characters from Mortal Kombat 4, certain characters from Mortal Kombat 3, like Shiva, Motaro, and Cabal, Curtis Stryker, all those characters, Nightwolf, and you know, it's really interesting. And I'm gonna start with the positive things, and then I'm gonna kind of point out what's kind of the misses with this game. It's a pretty good title, I should say. It has plenty of game modes, and possibly one of the best things about it is that you can play it with either your Wiimote and nunchuck combination, the GameCube controller, or the classic controller. Now, I personally favor, because I bought Deadly Alliance and I played that on the GameCube. Naturally, I tend to favor the GameCube controls because the controls are pretty much the same as in that game. And you may think that this means that they weren't working on it, but actually they were. And I have to say that the characters are a lot more balanced in Mortal Kombat Armageddon than they were in Deadly Alliance, because in Deadly Alliance there were some characters that you could play as that were really difficult to play as, but when you fought them with a computer-controlled player, they were almost unbeatable. In this game, there aren't that many characters that are difficult to control. Some are, but it's a pretty easy kind of combination. One of the downsides is that they because there's so many characters, and you can switch between different fighting styles. That was the new thing in Deadly Alliance. Well, in this game, all the characters only have one unarmed style and one armed style, meaning weapon style. And this was kind of I thought a bit of a downer, but because there are so many characters, then it's not that big. Well, it's understandable. And one of the things that definitely I liked, and although it's been criticized elsewhere, but I personally like the Conquest mode, which tells the story of this character Taven, who goes through Earthrealm and the various realms in a quest to find his brother and find out why he's been in hiatus for such a long, hibernation in such a long time. And I thought this Conquest mode was pretty excellent because it was the first time in Mortal Kombat that I've personally seen sort of really good plot development And it's definitely the ultimate game mode in the game because it's the easiest way to collect currency, and currency, with a K of course, is the money that you use to buy extras, features, and especially features for the Create a Fighter mode, which is really great. The Create a Fighter mode was also one of my favorite features because it allows you to basically create your own character. It allows you to give him his own set of moves. You can choose him a selection of special moves, but they're all kind of stolen from characters in the game, so you can't create your own or anything like that. But there's a big variety, so you can make up a pretty neat combination. The only downside is that the only weapon style that you're allowed to choose are swords and axes, and you can have like a hammer. But that's kind of big limitation. Also, the character's face, unless you give him like an evil vampire face or something like that, is always the same. So it's basically like dressing up the same character with you can adjust his body size, but his face remains the same. So it's basically like dressing up a character for cosplay or something like that. But you it's okay. You can easily create your favorite characters from Street Fighter. I guess Bruce Lee is in there, a few anime characters, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And then there's Mortal Kombat, of course, which is this cute little mini game, kind of like Mario Kart, but with Mortal Kombat characters. Although it's only fun when you play with a friend. I realized that when I played against the computer, it almost feels like the NPCs are always cheating. One of the definite improvements over the last game I felt, at least Deadly Alliance, was that they now inserted the stage fatalities, which means that there are always sort of stuff around the battle arena that you can use to kill your characters. You can throw them in a pit of spikes or in lava, and they're going to die a horrible bloody death. And this is really, this is the basic thing why Mortal Kombat is so famous, and I'm so happy that they brought it back. So the game is just as gory as ever, and that's really a great thing. On the downside, I thought that the main game, the arcade mode, was really short. That you only fight a handful of characters, then a final boss, and then you get an ending animation, which was really crappy. And, in this game, they didn't even have still images. They have the characters just doing some sort of battle moves, and there's this ending narration. And this was kind of a downer. So the arcade mode was not a good thing. The survival mode is almost better because you don't have to wait for the loading screens if you just want currency. The only downside, of course, is that you don't get to see the character's victory moves, and you're restrained to one area. But you can choose that area, which is a nice thing. And you can also get new arenas, although I noticed that a lot of the arenas that you can buy in the game don't have any sort of fatality, lethal qualities to them, which is kind of a downer. The only other big criticism that I can come up with is that the graphics, the character models are basically taken from the previous two Mortal Kombat titles, at least for the characters who were in Deadly Alliance and who were in Deception. Of course, there are new character models for characters that have never been featured in 3D before. And, of course, they didn't take any character models from Mortal Kombat 4, but there are some models that are modeled after the character models in Mortal Kombat 4. But it kind of feels like they cheated out a little bit on that, and definitely the graphics are a little last generation, but they're okay. And Mortal Kombat has always had abundant graphic bugs and things like that. So you kind of come to expect those. So it's not such a big thing. One thing I've always, and this is what I hate about the Mortal Kombat games, if you watch the Mortal Kombat movie, you might have noticed that there was very adrenaline pumped music and things like that, but don't let that fool you. In previous Mortal Kombat games, the music was never very good. I've hated. Just listen to this rendition of the dungeon or armory theme from Mortal Kombat 2. Not very good, but in this game, they've definitely improved at least a little bit. They're still not, the tunes are still not memorable or anything like that, but it's definitely an improvement. So, Mortal Kombat Armageddon is a good game, not an excellent game, but a good game. And if I have to give this a star grade, I'd give it 3.5 stars. So, that's my review of Mortal Kombat Armageddon. See you next time.